going on, guys? Welcome back to another Madden 13 video. Please do me a favor to take a moment, hit the like button, as well as subscribe to my channel if you aren't currently. Also, welcome your criticism of this video in the comment section. I'm going to play it at speed. Ask you to follow me on Twitter. My username is ShutdownSafety. This, of course, footage from my online CCM with the Buffalo Bills, where the Chargers happen to draft Phillip Rivers again. But I'm going to use multiple examples in this video to prove my point here. Before I get into the actual play, I want to preface this by saying if we're going to judge a defensive end or defensive tackle strictly by the number of sacks they get in a season, you're really putting that player in a box. Generally, most players that get over 15 sacks a season is looked at as having a good year. However, if you think about how many snaps a defensive player takes throughout the course of a game, much less the course of a season, obviously you'd understand that the success rate would be very small, which is why, of course, most teams look at the defensive tackle or end's ability to generate pressure on a quarterback. Now, that is something Madden is very bad at replicating. I'm going to look at this throw from Phillip Rivers, and you can see my defensive tackle is going to get through the line here, and Phillip Rivers is going to move over, which I like, and then he's going to stare down my defensive tackle and throw the ball. In all honesty, I have no problems with this. My problems start to come in when you see things like this occur. You see, Phillip Rivers doesn't get a full throwing motion off here. In fact, all he really does is maybe bring his arm up and push the ball forward. Now, if we could have a situation where perhaps the quarterback is going to throw the ball away, or perhaps the quarterback is going to tuck the ball to protect it, I would have no problem with this. But when this movement here, which is certainly rushed because of the pressure generated, lends itself to roughly about a 35-yard pass that I'll admit isn't all that accurate, but still is a pretty clean, tight spiral on a very decent arc, then I have a problem with that. And that's not something that I think is being replicated properly. I'd have an example here where Tom Brady is stepping up in the pocket while he's getting hit by Elvis Dumervil, and I want you to notice this ball spins around in his hand right here. And apparently this is what the game constitutes a pass. The ball then drops to the ground. Brady is in possession of Dumervil as this occurs. And you can see no players here react to this being a fumble. It was ruled and called an incomplete pass in the game, not a fumble. Alright, I have an example here from practice. You can see my linebacker coming in to make contact with the quarterback. And again, you see the ball is pushed out of the quarterback's hand. But as the quarterback pushes it out, the ball rotates, and then in this case actually hits an offensive lineman before bouncing to the ground. But again, the main focus of this is the rotation of the ball seems to dictate it's a pass and not viewed as a fumble. An example with Josh Freeman in the end zone here, about to get sacked by Cavell Connor, and again, you notice when the ball spins, right there, it is looked at as a pass, not a fumble. The ball drops to the ground. No player even goes to look to recover it because this has been ruled an incomplete pass. Again, a situation where it should have been possibly ruled a fumble. Alright, here we got an example. Quarterback drops back. Defensive tackle is going to come into the screen at full speed, and as you can see, he gets about a yard away, and rather than maybe taking the sack or trying to protect the ball, quarterback decides he's going to go through a rushed throwing motion, and you can see that as he gets to the start of his release, he's actually impacted by my defensive tackle. Ball comes out, thrown forward. Actually he is headed toward a halfback, but again, something that shouldn't really happen. Alright, last example here, you can see quarterback actually steps toward the pressure, gets hit, ball comes out, and again, you see it fall to the ground as an incomplete pass. And the purpose of this video wasn't really to go through, whether these should all be ruled fumbles or not, but really just to show how much work and effort needs to be put into these quarterback scenarios, and certainly this isn't the way a NFL caliber quarterback is going to handle the football. And just to take one closer look at this, you can see this isn't even a throwing motion. He basically just puts his hand up in the air. The ball then spins backwards, as we've seen in these examples, falls to the ground, and it's not registered by any defensive player to be looked at as a fumble. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'd love to see your comments on it, and I will of course be back in the week with more.